Let me see. Oh, all right, cool. So tell us your name and what your dating looked like before we got coaching, like in the last 30 days.
So my name is Kenton, and prior to coaching, dating, not too bad. Like it tended to be pretty random. I was somebody that I at least on my own I'd put in some decent amount of work of approaching and learning game again on a individual level, and so it'd be inconsistent. Some days, some weeks will be really good, some months will be really good, and then some months might be really dry. Kind of just depends on life, and then how much effort I was really putting into approaching.
Okay. So what was the most frustrating part about being single? Like not having consistent girlfriend.
Girlfriend specifically, I mean, personally, I for a while I wasn't looking for a specifically a girlfriend. At least before we did the coaching, I was more so typical, just trying to do my own thing and then get laid situation. Right, there was just that was really on my mind all throughout college and up to a certain point. So for me, it was just like, damn, those times when I was single, uh, I was like, phone's really dry, and then I'm like, want to have sex. So
Yeah.
the thing where it's just like, damn, I need to get something going. That's pretty much it. It'll just be the typical because I wasn't looking for something particularly consistent. So it was kind of like I was setting myself up for failure, but also at the same time I didn't really want consistency. I just kind of was just looking for something casual also. So hope did that answer your question?
Sure. How do you feel like maybe like that lack of consistency or kind of that sporadic nature of you dating, how was that affecting your confidence and like you being able to focus on your work? Because I know you're someone that's very disciplined.
So how did that affect my confidence, you're saying?
Work life, yeah. Like being able to focus on your work.
Oh, I see. So I think, definitely I may have I may have allowed it to either just be on my mind a lot more so. So for example, it's like if I was in a dry situation, I would just be thinking about it the other day, like, man, I really gotta do something this week or this weekend. And so I would always try to make sure I was at an event or doing something for the weekend. And in part that could have well, actually not even say could have, that did take away time from work that I could have been doing. So uh time manage it affected my time management because yeah, there are definitely plenty of times where I was just so fixated on trying to be out, trying to meet, trying to catch something, and um, those hours add up, and it takes away from other goals. So I would say, yeah, the amount of hours that I was put into being outside and trying to chase some tail, I guess.
So what do you think was the number one thing of stopping you from finding a girlfriend on your own or finding a girl on your own that was consistent, that met your standards?
I think it was just my perspective at the time. My perspective at the time was just I didn't see a value in it. And so as long as I was just getting the physical side of things, that's all I really cared about. I was just that, and then whatever was my goals. As long as I could fulfill that physical side of things, like I didn't really need anything from a woman at the time. And so it was more my mindset that was holding me back.
I like the honesty, man. So why did you decide to work with me specifically instead of just, watching more YouTube content or trying harder on the apps?
Well, I met you in person, and we've been out many a times. And seeing how your game is definitely influenced me in a positive way, and seeing that there's more to it than just the physical side of things, like I mentioned. So when the opportunity was given to me and you started your coaching, and I was like, okay, cool. I could at least give it this amount of time, and the rest is history.
So, what do you think was the single most important lesson or tactic I taught you that really changed everything for you and allowed you to reach your success?
I would say having intent, being very deliberate, and having a plan. Or I know those are three things, but I think they all went together. That was the biggest takeaway.
So, you're somebody that's working like pretty heavily. You're a musician. You're in the military. Um, you know, there's a lot of things that you're doing. You have a very like regimented schedule. So, how do we manage to find you a girlfriend despite your ambitions and what you're working on, and the various activities that you have going on in your life? Because you're not someone that just lays down and does nothing.
Correct. So the first thing we did was we assessed who I was, as a person. And as you mentioned, I'm a musician, also in the military. So I have certain lifestyles based on those two things, and then I also have my own particular interests. I'm also very into fitness and keeping myself fit. Like there's certain things that I do in my life, and so you assess that first, and my personality, who I am, and how, and then from there we looked into the type of woman that I want for my life, and we got very specific as far as non-negotiable, so things that I wouldn't accept in relationships, and then also things that I want within that relationship. And then from there, we we use the information as far as my who I am as a person, my lifestyle, and again the type of female that I want for my life, to then organize how I would plan out my week. Because then once we've gathered all this information, we then have to put action behind it. So once we factored in everything, found out my available hours throughout the week, then we assessed, okay, based on who you are and the type of female you want in your life, it's going to be best that you position yourself here, based on your schedule, and we're going to aim to execute this amount of times each week, and we'll have a goal of trying to uh, get this many leads, so meaning like numbers and conversions, turning those into dates. And but we're only going to deal with the women that fit this particular category. So I could, for example, talk to 20 girls for the week, but if only two of them fit within those boxes, then those are the ones who are going to be my priority, essentially. And based on my goal, which was when we started to get a main girl. So everybody else would just be throwaways in a sense. Um, so it started, just to conclude everything, with who I am, identifying who I am as a person and the type of woman I want for my life, and then establishing that goal, and then setting a strategic plan uh, in order to execute that goal. And I don't know if I'm getting ahead of your questions, but we got it done relatively soon. Like, I guess before the session ended up, maybe like the last week or so. Second to last week.
Beautiful thing, man. So, tell us about your girlfriend or your main girl. What do you love most about the relationship you've built with her?
Very peaceful. And funny enough, I was talking to a colleague of mine how it's like it's like you can't do anything wrong, and I think that's the best position to be in, where it's just like you can. It's almost like, yeah, you can't do anything wrong. She's just there to support you, and regardless of what you're going through, she's there, and she's just there to be helpful as well too, which is something I definitely appreciate. She's interested in the things that I'm in, well, not my goals. She's interested in my goals and my ambitions, and then she'll even go out of her way to try and help me with that in ways that she can, which is, I think, a great trait that she has. And then other qualities that are more fundamental. So I'm big into fitness, health, and nutrition. So she makes sure that she's taking care of herself and eating well, and just good hygiene, typical things like that. She's orderly, cooks and cleans. But the biggest thing is she will go out of her way to be supportive, which means that she's paying attention, and she's willing to be an asset as opposed to a liability.
Did you believe it was possible to see these results in 30 days, my friend?
Hey man, I believe in myself, so yes, I did. And again, I met you, so and you had a great game. So when you put the two together, I didn't think I was gonna fail.
I love the confidence, man. If a guy's watching this and he's tired of being alone, but he's scared to invest in coaching, what would you tell him?
I would say do it. I think whether it's you learning how to approach, getting your first girlfriend, getting your main girl, or getting multiple girls, whatever issue you're having in dating or relationships, I think Dan is very knowledgeable and experienced in whatever. In my case, I didn't necessarily need help with specifically approaching women. I've done that, so you can say it was advanced in a sense where I was coming to him, but it just goes to show that he has, again, a plethora of knowledge and experience, and that he can help you in various different stages of your relationship goals.
All right. So if you could summarize your experience in one sentence, what would you say about our coaching journey? What would you experience in one sentence? This whole thing.
Okay. In one sentence. Let's see.
What are you thinking? I went from 0 dates to a committed relationship in 3 weeks. What are we thinking?
Oh, okay, so something like that. Okay. So AI dating guy. Because the word I'm thinking is so efficient, but then I don't want it to sound generic, because you're not just giving very cookie cutter kind of stuff. This is a word I'm looking for. Hopefully you can chop this up so it can sound a lot more smooth than this when you sitting here trying to think. Sheesh. Damn. When you say
All
one,
right. How about this?
when you say one sentence, that kind of that means.
How about this?
Yeah,
How about this? So describe how your life feel, like the improvements to your life in this is like, how does your life feel now that your relationship problems are solved? Like in the sense of like, like you have a consistent main girl, like, you're like where you're at in life right now, like before coaching and after coaching. So maybe just describe like how your life feels like before and after.
Right. So after the coaching, it definitely.
Describe before first.
Oh, before. Okay, so
Before and after.
yeah, the biggest thing was intent. Again, being very deliberate. So prior to the coaching, while I was again out there, I had no issues with doing the approach. It was just very unfocused. Let's say that it was very unfocused. Hot girl, let me go after it. But then the qualities I was looking for weren't always there. So it was like I was going after it, but I was accepting a lot of things that I didn't need to, and but never really going getting the root, solving the root issue, you know. But then after the coaching now, uh, my thought process is a lot more efficient because no longer am I thinking like, okay, new day, let me just go out and just talk to whomever, whatever. Like, no, now I'm leaving the house with a very clear idea of the type of woman that I want in my life and like where that's going to be and how I fit into that as well too, based on who I am. There's a lot more intent going behind it since getting the coaching.
All right, man. I think we're good. I think we're good.